is Osakimi here again, another edition of Casual Crypto and Coffee. This is, if you're not familiar with it, is a long form version of my weekly reviews on Mondays. Mondays I cover Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and Binance, among whatever relevant coins are up for discussion at that time. This is a long form discussion where I just kind of go over the whole market, and the tone is much more casual. I'm not here to try to impress anyone with, good oratory skills. I'm scanning the market. A lot of these I haven't even looked at for the day, much less even the week. So it'll be up to, any of my surprises are genuine. My analysis is it's more, in the moment. So no script, nothing. So it's it's much more organic. I mean, all the content I do is organic as I can, but there's no script. There's less structure. So some of you have told me you've enjoyed this a lot. Other people not so much, and that's okay. I think most people enjoy the more casual, gritty experience because this is more in tune with what real traders do. Behind the scenes, you see a lot of tweets, you see a lot of posts and charts, and it's hard to navigate between genuine analysis sometimes and Twitter engagement or influencer engagement, right? And I don't want that to be the case. Like, this is more, if you like the structures, I have a weekly review for that. I'm going to have another series coming up where I have more topical points to cover. That's probably going to be coming in 2 weeks. But if you like something a little more gritty, much more organic, and sometimes even boring, you're not in a bad way, but that's kind of what this is. So 2 things before I start. The first thing is I have a group called Apex Academy. This is launching in December 5th. It consists of 3 different trading strategies. The first one is a proprietary strategy called Aroon, Advanced Aroon or Aroon Pro. I've used both terms. It is a complete system based around the Aroon indicator. It's not just the basics of it. This is a very advanced thing that I have learned for over 4 years now. And this is something that you can do a lot of things with. And so I'll go into that. This is a 12-week course. So it'll be 12 weeks of that. In addition to that, it's also going to be 2 more strategies: price action trading system, and the momentum trend system, which is a combination. Momentum and trend are actually 2 different strategies, but I've put them into one because a lot of the patterns, a lot of the ways that you apply them are the same. You just look at things differently. So it's going to be a combination of Aroon price action and momentum trend strategy. I'm going to teach how to use those all separately and how to use them all together. The Apex literally stands for Aroon price action exponential. So I'm going to tell people how to use those, how to use them in combination with one another, and how to use them in certain priorities to identify certain aspects of charts. I recently made a post about the Litecoin long yesterday where the Apex system made a 25R, which is amazing. There's also going to be 4 Aroon bots, one based off of volume, one based off of liquidity, one based off of trends, and then one based off of the entire Apex system itself, which I made specifically for this group. There's also going to be, I think I've mentioned different numbers between 50 to 54, but 52 is kind of what my number has been. A minimum of 52 hours of video content, which in alone of itself is worth the price of admission to this. I'll put the link in the description for the form. It's a Google form that you can sign up for a wait list. So that's the first thing. Didn't mean to talk so much about that, but that's a very important thing I've got going on. It's going to launch December 5th. It's a 12-week course. It's going to be probably 13 weeks. We're going to take a break during Christmas time as well, so people can be with their families. So it's going to be about 13 weeks, maybe even 14, to make sure everybody gets the time that they want off this year. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, this is Casual Crypto and Coffee. You guys selected a coffee for me. I have a big collection set that I bought for the holidays. I'm a big holiday guy. And you guys chose for me a coffee blend called Southern Weather. This is from Onyx Coffee Labs from the Midwest. And this is pretty good. It's actually the first blend that I had so far. I've had the El Salvador, I've had the Costa Rica, and then last week you guys recommended the Ethiopian. This one is a much more traditional type of cup that you would expect maybe from like a donut shop type of coffee-esque. Full body, it's rich. It's a mix of African coffee beans with Latin American beans. And it's pretty good. I wasn't sure how to. I didn't like it at first, but once I got about half the cup, I actually made a second cup. So like, as I'm recording right now, I've got my second cup of Southern Weather coffee. Very good. I appreciate your all's comments about that. And so I look forward to another one as well. And it kind of gives me some hope, I guess. It's probably too strong of a word, but gives me some more positive anticipation of other blends in the collection being good, because there's about 4 more blends, or maybe 5 more. So not a big, I'm really hit or miss with blends. Blends can be either very good or very bad. This one was good, so I like it. So that being said, I'm just going to cover everything. I might look at the total first. It looks very similar to Bitcoin so far. We had a good touchdown below and a block above. I mentioned this to my followers in Telegram. I have not mentioned this on Twitter. I'll probably keep this in the video as well. But I do have a buy signal on the weekly. This is also confirmed on Bitcoin, I believe, and a few other ones. But the sell here was initiative of the first drop down. This ended up being a divergence on a 2 week, even 3 week, I think. Getting our first buy signal. I had one that came down below here, so that one wasn't the best one, and then this one was okay until the COVID crash. So that's something to consider. I'm not necessarily saying that's the bottom. I'm not even saying that that's accurate as well. Just kind of saying, got the same structure here. This kind of funneled up to a sign. This tightening was a sign that this buy price action was not going to follow through to the upside just yet. And this one had as well. So if we get, if this, what you want to look for in this is, even though we had a buy signal here, this black line was still the bearish trend. So we had a buy, we had no follow through because the price never went bullish. So when the blue line goes above, it's a bullish trend, and we didn't get that until March of 2019. So that's something to consider. And so, like, some of you guys have this buy and sell script. This is my liquidity script as well. So some of you guys are looking at this, and I need to change it, and I've changed it a little bit for the actual bot. But the point is, this doesn't necessarily mean buy. This just means that the liquidity is getting pressurized at these levels, and this is something you have to watch out for. So if this liquidity level goes below the wick of the buy, it's going to accelerate down, which it did. And otherwise, this is a good time. If that wouldn't have happened, it's a great time to buy, because that's where the liquidity is at its weakest. And anyway, liquidity basically means if if the price ends up breaking the liquidity zone, which liquidity zone is actually the bottom of the wick, it'll cause a huge breakdown. We also saw that again here. So liquidity zone would be the top of this to the bottom of the wick. You know, and we retested this. This was pretty much, I think the start of March was pretty much when they made the stock market announcement. Crashed below, and then when we went above, that ended up being a good thing. And the sell signal was spot on for this low of a time frame, but obviously in hindsight that looked murky depending on how long you, the idea is not, that's not going to be a perfect sell either. It's like once you get above this level, it's going to accelerate, which it did. So that would have been sell here, buy at the break, basically, and then you sell up here. And so what that also could mean is we could go back here, we'll see. And this is the total market cap, so I don't trade. Obviously, nobody trades the total market cap. So that's just kind of what I see on that. We'll just go straight to Bitcoin here. Let's go. So one thing that I had mentioned, get rid of it. So I'm getting a lot of buy signals, honestly, on Bitcoin, and I mentioned that, but that's something to keep in mind before I discuss something else. We are getting into an area where liquidity is becoming so illiquid. So one of two things are going to happen. Like I just mentioned, we're either going to go up in price slightly, or we're going to go massively down in price. And if we go massively down in price, that is a good sign that the bottom is coming in, or that it already has, depending on if it goes down or not. So I know a lot of that sounds very vague. It's like, oh, it's going to go up and down. Well, I mean, you know, life goes up and down, right? So that's cliche, but it is what it is. But from what I've mentioned, I think I mentioned it on Twitter. If you go for the top of the wick to here, we're at 76%. Historically, we don't really go past 87%. So the bottom is drawing near, and I mentioned I'm much more vocal recently that I am hard pressed. I think that should be here. Or maybe that's on the monthly. Yeah, that's on the monthly, I believe. Let's see. Yeah. So from this monthly spot here to the top of there, which also matches the bottom of here, and we're at the mid. I don't think this is a coincidence. Like, none of this is really coincidental. We also had a monthly bearish divergence that should have been your main. You know, this is one reason I got out. Honestly, at this height, I saw the sell signal, and unfortunately, that's when things hit the fan. You know, so I don't think that's not a valid div. That would be great though. And look, this is simple stuff. Okay, you know, I'm gonna go into other coins, I know, but just to go back on Bitcoin, this is very simplistic stuff. Bearish divergence on the monthly, you know, this is as easy as it gets. This is as easy as it gets. And the reason I emphasize that is because you had so many good traders, and a lot of them are really, really, really good traders. So don't get me wrong. But those really good traders use a lot of advanced metrics that you don't have to use. And I say that because, yeah, they may use them, and it's okay for anybody to use anything as long as it's effective for them. But the problem is that you get somebody newer to the crypto, or doesn't know much more about the market, and they try to deep dive. And I know a few of you do this. Like, you want to really deep dive into these complex strategies to maximize your money. And the point is you don't have to do those things. Like, people make fun of bearish divergences. They make fun of RSI. They make fun of a lot of other things, and like MAs, for example. Like, I use the MA, the MA 100 a lot. So, but the point is like, those work. They work for a reason. Like, who cares? Like, the fact that the RSI is like 40 years old or something, and it's the most used indicator, and it still works, is a sign of something that's truly tested, right? And look at the 100 RSI. Like, we broke down here, and then we had a retest and break down again. It's just as simple as that. If you would have held to this, or just at least got off the sidelines, you would have retained 62% of your money. If you would have got out at 43, with, let's say you had one Bitcoin at 43, you'd still have 43 here, right? And so, like, how much is, let's see, 43 to 70 divided by 16,500, you'd have 2.62 Bitcoin. So you would have had one Bitcoin here, and then, roughly 2.5 or a little more there. So it's that easy. It's that easy, guys and ladies, or whoever's watching. Like, it's that easy. And you add a little bit of the mix, and that's kind of what my Aroon is going to be teaching you in, Apex Academy. Aroon is a trend momentum based indicator, but I've also learned how to use it in combination with price action and other things to show you these kind of very basic things. And you can do that to, like, look at maybe like the top 20 or so strategies, pick the top 10 that give you the biggest rewards, and you can capitalize on that. It's that easy. It really is. I'm not making fun of anybody. But the point is like, if you can't make money, if you can't make money trading like hardcore with the same amount that you could be with just basic MAs, you need to stop. You need to stop trading. You start trading with basic MAs and go from there. I say all that because let's just look. This is just a monthly chart. I know this is a very boring aspect, but like, we had a monthly divergence. You get out at this. You get out right here. You would have got out at 57. You would have saved yourself so much heartache. We even broke below this order block here. This little mini section here. Made our own little section here. We had a failure through here. We went down here to retest the highs. So this is what I call a swing high order block. Swing high order block. And so, a normal order block is like this, where it has a certain structure of like highs and lows and actual candle bodies, where the swing order blocks are wicks. And so a swing high is wicks on the high side, where a swing low would be something like this. This series of wicks right here, but I would have extended it through there. And so we had a failure through there. So this would be like a swing low breaker technically. I don't typically address that. Those don't have necessarily as high of a confidence as regular breakers, for one, but also two, you can look at a lower time frame to get a real breaker move. So that's a different story. It's a little too advanced for this video, but anyway, so we had a swing a high order block here. So what you can see here, we dropped there, we tested, went up, tested again, broke down below, but tested above. Now we're down below, we hit the mid. So we might have some shenanigans in here. Who knows, we might hit 12.7. So just something to keep in mind. But from a macro view, from a price action standpoint, you kind of want to break above the 1980 region. So if we are able to get above 20 grand again, that would probably lead to a major move. I would probably guess somewhere in this range, in the 30s. I mean, we could see something as high as, I mean, we could see something as high as this, like in the 35. I didn't mean to go up that high, but like the 35 region, and then come back down. That'd be max pain, I think. Not sure we would go that high, but the price action lingo kind of shows that we could. And the market tends to go higher and lower than you might expect anyway. What I think might be could happen is we go like this. We see the above, so we get people tricked into thinking, hey, we made a higher low, and then we even made a higher high, and so then we go back down. So because once we make this higher high, the market might have much more confidence that once we reach a higher high, or this would be considered a major deviation, and so a lot of people would jump back in. We went back below, people would get confused again, and then if we go below again, people are thinking we're going to go down here, and that's probably not going to be true. I have very hard time believing we get below the 12,000. I'm not one of those people that think we go into 4 digits. At the worst, I think we might go to 10.6 right here. And let me navigate this. I think this might be the worst that we get. That's just an opinion, though. I don't know where the market's going to hit. I don't think a lot of people do either. This also ties up with this level here. So, and that's where I got my bids at also. And that's why I don't use the Coinbase chart, because that's where I got my bids. So, so that's, I think that's pretty much it on that. We're kind of from the daily, we're just kind of seeing a lot of struggle here. We do have the CPI today, which honestly, I'm so done with the CPI. I don't, and or maybe it's the FOMC. I don't even know. Honestly, I don't even care at this point, because the most of them don't really do much long term. And I've said this over and over again. I've said this especially in Telegram. I know you guys kind of get annoyed with me about that, maybe, but like every month we make a big deal about this, and it just, all it does is just castrates the price action for a 3-day period, right? Or even the whole week. People are so afraid of a little bitty move, and it's volatile for like 2 hours, yeah. And you should always keep risk management. I'm not discounting that, but if you look, just look at the weekly, like, again, we have the buy there, but let's just get rid of that. This weekly time frame, show me where all the meetings happened. Just can you show me or comment maybe in below, like, where these meetings occurred? You can't identify it on a high time frame perspective. You can't even necessarily define it on a daily perspective, which is still technically high time frame. But this is the entire, here you go. This is the entirety of this year. So we started like literally like, our high was really before the year even started, but like, actually, no, the high was literally January. I actually didn't know that. So this was your high for the year. This is January 1st, 2nd, whatever. We made a double top, and we've been down ever since. It's been highly profitable just to stay off the market this year. And look, here's the end of, there's the end of the year. So that's all it is to it, right? So, but you can't really show me which one of these days. And yeah, we had one every year, one every month, presumably. But what I'd rather get at is, you can tell how the market's going to react without the FOMC, without the CPI. And yeah, those things are important long term, for inflation, things like that. But you don't need to look at that to understand what the markets are telling you. And this is also true, and I know there's a lot more. I know I'm in the minority about this, but the correlation between BTC and the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq, DXY is different. I do think we should be paying much more attention to the DXY. Still not as much as what people should be. But especially the correlation between the BTC and the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq. And the reason I say that is not because it's not true. I want to be that clear. I personally do not see an effective correlation. I don't. I personally do not. I've been an advocate that I don't see it. But some people do, and I'm not going to say that they're wrong, because there's other things like wave theories. Like, I don't see how wave theories are productive, or Elliott wave, I should say. But if it works for you, it works for you. I'm not going to discount anybody that has an effective strategy, whether it's even moon phases or zodiac sign or whatever. I don't really care. I don't. But the thing is that, again, going back to those advanced trader people, like, you see people like, oh, they talk about the correlation between this, that, and this, that, and like, they look like a genius. But the thing is like, you don't know if they're trading off that necessarily, and it's all speculation. And the average trader is going to get more confused by looking at both of those as a correlation versus not. And just look at the S&P 500, for example. It's an index. Okay, like you're looking at a risk asset based off of an index, based off of five other stocks, right? And this is American stock too. And yeah, like there is some similarity. I'm not discounting that. There are similarities. There can be correlations. The problem is that, are you profitable in doing so? I don't care what you might think about how advanced the market is, how smart you might be, whatever. Does it make you money? That's what I care about. And so for me personally, I have not seen a big correlation. It has not made me money in doing so. I'm a big fan of reducing as much noise as you can. I get confused because, I came from stocks, and I learned a different method to learn crypto. And so that's why I kind of take more of a passive approach to stocks, because that's easier for me to make money that way in a stock portfolio versus trading actively. Like trading crypto actively, like I said last week, I made 78% for my scalp portfolio. I could not do that in stocks. That for some reason I couldn't. And I don't know why, I don't know how, I don't know if that's easier or what, or not easier, I don't know. But that's just how I found out how I operate. And I say that because a lot of you guys are looking at the SPX, a lot of you guys are looking at the Nasdaq, a lot of you guys are even looking at the DXY, and it's not helping you. Okay, look at just the basic chart. Like people are like not trading because they're looking at a dang market in the United States that hates crypto anyway, right? So, it just doesn't make sense. We're supposed to be, yeah, we are a risk asset, but we're supposed to be different. We're supposed to be, permissionless. We're supposed to be peer-to-peer, whatever. And we're looking at the very same market that we're supposed to be different from. And all that does is lead to like, a catch-22 or a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? So it doesn't make a lot of sense. The reason but you can do all that or not, doesn't matter to me. The point is, there's 0 point looking at the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq if it doesn't make you money while you're trading Bitcoin. If you're trading Bitcoin and you're looking at those other non-crypto charts and it's not making you money, you're wasting your time. So, and the reason I say that is because this is like the last year and a half, right? And again, this is the yearly. The biggest thing I see right now is this bear div. Huge, massive. I didn't need some meeting to tell me that. I didn't need the SPX to tell me that. I saw that within 5 seconds. Okay, and that's something when you see it. You know, that's one thing I train myself to see is I look at these tops. Like here's another one. You know, was this a divergence? Yes, it was. Now that may be less valid on the daily. It might show better on the 2-day. But again, it just shows you. Another thing you can see is like when things reach up above the 80 mark, those are not as though I have that marked as like a confirmation tool, but those don't necessarily are as accurate as bear divs and order block breakers and things like that. So that's another thing to keep in mind. So again, these are easy things. I spent way too much time on Bitcoin, I know. So, you know, Ethereum, nothing much has changed. Honestly, we're still in this box. I mentioned in my Telegram that we need to get out of here. We did cross bullish here on the Aroon, so I've got some hopium that will cross here. The problem is tomorrow is a holiday, and I believe the stock market. I even just mentioned that I shouldn't correlate that, but yeah, the stocks are closed for the next 2 days. So there's always complexity in holidays. I do pay attention to holidays because usually, and it's not just a stock thing though. Like it's like me, I'm going to my family tomorrow, right? So probably not going to be, you know, I'll still look at charts on my phone probably, but for the most part, people are busy, right? So anyway, from a macro viewpoint on the 1 day, it needs to go bullish above here, possibly even above this range. You know, I'd like to see it above 1400 again. Still surprisingly 4 digits. This has been an interesting zone, the demand zone, to see if we'll go to 3 digits. I think that we will, but again, that's very complex. We are getting a different market reaction on the weekly than versus like Bitcoin. Have a clear lower low, bad follow through. Ethereum has held, so we'll see how that goes. I don't think it will, just based off of reactions like this, and you know, just how it should react. But we'll see. We have crossed daily on the daily. That's shown by this blue indicator as well. We have not done on that one, and not even on Binance. So this is an interesting thing. Like Ethereum is right now is kind of a leader right now, and that's intriguing to me. So this is probably one to watch out for the time being. And let's see. Oh, that's right. I don't know what that is. Okay, or no, I know what that is. There we go. I thought that was a sign that the market was no longer valid, like on FTX. Anyway, weekly time frame. This has always been kind of, you know, just a cluster mess of junk. So we got that. Let's see. Let's look on the 1 month. So just crappy indecision for now. Not really paying too much attention to the ETH BTC at this time, especially, you know, this, and it does kind of correlate with, you know, the bear market. Let's see. So right here, you know, this has just been nothing. You know, we basically are at the same price that we were before, and especially you go into this, we've had like almost a year and a half worth of just like nothing. So that is what it is. All right, we'll go back to some of these other ones. So I covered during the weekly. Nothing much changed. Had a little bit of a breakup here. I'd want to see, you know, a test and hold that. Pretty easy. Not too into Solana at the moment. Binance, we had a good run up today. about 11-12%. And a lot of these have started to go up, but now they're starting to kind of hesitate as we get to the meeting today, which is that's where it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, people get out of the markets before something happens, which makes it more illiquid for things to happen the way that they think things will happen. Like, things are becoming self-fulfilling at this point, and that's why I say things like things are priced in, or we're causing our own problems, because we are causing our own problems. Like, this is becoming mania where, and yeah, you don't want to get stopped out, so I can't just be like, well, I'm just gonna hold my Bitcoin and just hope for the best, right? Like, you can't do that either. You need your own risk management. The point is that everybody's doing that, and so it's becoming self-fulfilling. Anyway, and I think the meeting's in 30 minutes or so. So we'll see how that goes. Honestly, like, same crap's gonna happen, right? We're gonna have a Darth Maul scenario, and then it's probably gonna continue in the same direction. So anyway, I've talked too long about that, but it's just there's a lot of, I guess, one more minute of sharing my point on that. Like, the whole reason I say all of that is you need your best trading discipline is to hone what you know. Pick a few things that you know and do it well. And that's the point that I have with Apex, Aroon, price action, trend trading. I've used all three of those, and I've refined them so much to where, like, I don't use one discipline 100%, because I don't think anybody does anyway. But I use a few of them really, really good. And when I say good, I mean gives me the best ratio to reward. That ties into all this, FOMC and all these other correlations. Like, it's noise. For most people, this is going to be noise that is not going to make you profitable. So anyway, I need to digress from that. I don't want this to be like a hour rant. So one thing I do see here, though, is we have this, double top, had the deviation, follow through down. So Binance has always been kind of a weird one for me to peg, because you got all this here. You got to absolutely insanely, let's see if this is this better on Binance. It is. Go figure, right? So one thing that I absolutely see that bugs me with this is that we have, let's see if I can, here we go. Had this previously from 2019. Every day I regret. I could have bought this in the $5 range. I owned this at $5 at one point, and I owned a lot at $20, I think. So went here, had to follow through. This is a breaker, so we should retest this. So that's right there, and we never really technically did. And even if you want to call that technically, we still had another breaker here. You can't really see it because of, well, here, let's do it here. So there's the move. We had the breaker here, so that means we should test here. Never did. And then even if you count this, we still had a breaker right here. So we should go back to $44 if you take those rules, right? And that's why I always say, like, the order breakers, their accuracy is like 95%, even higher. The point is they take so long, but sometimes they're not accurate as well. Like, you always got to keep in mind that some things may just not work according to plan. But then you see in hindsight, this went up straight up, and we're still in the $200 range. And this is, everything that CZ's got going on in Binance, like, it is hard to believe that we'll go down there, right? So we'll see. I have no idea. Setting up a bearish cross on the weekly. So I would expect some more down move. We'll see. I do think, though, if Binance does go down too far, that we're going to see a lot of major fear and FOMO in the market. But we'll see. So, Adam. This is kind of messy in my opinion. This has a similar structure to Ethereum, but it's just getting, major fades, which is not a good sign. We had a big run up, I think, because of some partnerships. Kind of got like this div. This is kind of a weird div, by the way, just the way that it's structured. But we'll see on this one. I'm not particularly. This is where I would look at it's like, all right, you got something like this, holding the small resistance, and a lot of these can't even flip, even daily resistances right now. And you got to get there first. So I see that. I see this marker here at 11. So you got stuff like that going on. Let's look here. 80% down. That was 87. So I mean, if you're a big Atom person, and I like Atom, I think that'll probably be, one of the top coins of layer 2s coming up for the next season. This is something to keep in mind and possibly start buying soon. I think on high time frame structure, you kind of got this area here, like this swing low with a deviation. So you got like all this right here, right? So this is probably a good long-term buying area somewhere in here. I really wouldn't want to see it go below $5, in my opinion. So we'll see how that goes. I'd like to see a break above 50 to keep this going. Aroon band is still bearish. Well, that's on the weekly though. Daily is also bearish. I don't think it shows up really anywhere else. So, you guys know my MO is the 4-day. So if this goes bullish, I'm game. But until then, no go. I'm mainly focusing for my actual long-term trading. I'm looking at Bitcoin, Ethereum first, getting those established, and then I can go into those later. Because if you look, let's see, let's look at Atom BTC. So bearish here. Let's look at the week. Surprisingly, it's okay, but this is a big mesh, right? So if you want to do something like 3-day, it's still a little trendy, but a little choppy-ish too. For buying for Bitcoin pairs, I look for something a little more trendy, right? So you can kind of get on a more easier road to making more BTC. You don't want to make it, again, I go back to this, you don't want to make it harder on yourself. So let's get out of that. And some other ones. Let's see, Matic. Let's look at the weekly as well. Had the big push move. I think we had the Starbucks announcement and other things. Deviated below. Still kind of just chilling in this weird spot. Again, that was probably because of the FTX thing. So a lot of these markets are struggling. As you go down, you're going to see that. You're going to see how things are a little more illiquid. GRT, this was one I had my eyes on, but I did not buy for some reason. But it has faded most of today. That's crazy how it went up like 35%. Wow. So now we're down to 12. Not a good sign. That's just a sign that, hey, people cashed in. It's a liquid market. And that's just how it's going right now. ENS is another one that moved recently. But again, retrospectively, this is just still within a period of, let's see, it was still a set of lower lows. We had one lower low, or a higher low, or retest, I should say. So not overly a good sign. And if you got something like this could just be a continuation down. We'll see. Doesn't look too bad, and ENS is a decent coin for the long term. That would probably be one of my more trades that I would look at for the next run as well. Let's see if I can point out some others. Didn't mean to go on Bitcoin for so long, but SNX is one that I have my eye on for the long haul, but the market, it doesn't look pretty done, pretty unhealthy for now. Is there a better chart? I don't know what's going on here. All right, let's look at this. Well, that doesn't tell me. Oh, that's why I had KuCoin. Anyway, you got all this crap going on here, but let's get rid of this. We're testing that support area right there, so that's one thing to consider. Let's see how that looks at on the 2 week. Got the lower low, but the divergence is not there, so that's something I would just wait on, until we get another. Again, most of these coins are about just getting a high time frame, higher high put in, or a retest of some sort. Interestingly enough, we actually got the bullish Aroon. That's very interesting. But that's 2 weeks, so that would take, who knows how long that would take, right? So, very interesting with that. So, let's look at OP. That retest, but just still hovering there. That's not really a good sign, though. Need to get that up to the 50 mark. And again, it goes back to what I'm saying. Like, a lot of people just aren't interested in these coins just yet. We're getting a few musical chairs kind of mentality right now where certain things are pumping. I think the market is getting more confident in putting money into the market, but I think there's still a lot of hesitation. I think people are going to wait. But as far as, if we go back to Bitcoin again, and I mentioned this before as well, and I think I mentioned in a tweet, like, I think we might still have another 100 days to go, another 3 months of this. So, point is, focus on the big levels, focus on retests, focus on higher lows, and like I said, divergence was key. We got another one here thus far. We got 11 days to go, though. I'll be much more vocal about this if this confirms. Got a lot of time, but we'll see how that goes. So anyway, that's it for my casual crypto and coffee. I apologize if I talked too long about Bitcoin. I meant to talk more about alts, but Bitcoin does play into how the alts are reacting right now, especially this part of the market. You can still make money in this market. Thanks for picking out the coffee that you guys picked out for me. Thanks for listening. Please like, subscribe if you enjoyed this, and have a good day.